Good morning and welcome everybody. As I think all of you will be aware, we have issued a media statement and notified the market this morning that we will be appointing Christopher Luxon as the new Chief Executive for Air New Zealand, who will succeed Rob Fyfe when he leaves at the end of December. I'd like to take this very public opportunity to congratulate Christopher on that pending appointment. And to perhaps talk a little bit about the background and process that's got us to here. Christopher joined the company just over a year ago in the Group General Manager International, one of the senior roles reporting to Rob Fyfe. And he came to us from a stellar career with Unilever internationally. He's a Canterbury University graduate, joined Unilever on the graduate program and has progressed through a series of roles, ending in a very senior role as President and CEO of Unilever Canada after 18 years offshore. We were able to attract him to a senior position as somebody motivated to come back to New Zealand, to come back to a meaningful role and to contribute to the company. And I think that this is a very important day for the company and for New Zealand business, that we are able to attract Kiwis of that calibre back to the New Zealand business environment. He clearly had an opportunity potentially to become CEO. There was no guarantee that that would happen, and today is the culmination of that journey for him. As I stated at the time when we announced Rob's departure at the end of the year, we would undertake a global search, that would take some time, and that we expected to be able to announce by the end of June, so I'm delighted that we can make that announcement today. In the global search that we undertook, we searched extensively through global aviation, through the Australian and New Zealand business communities, for leaders and potential leaders who might be able to lead this company. We have said previously that there were strong internal candidates. We've also indicated that it was always our preference to appoint an internal candidate, but it was important that we appointed the best candidate. I'm delighted that those two things have coincided in us being able to make Christopher's appointment. Over the next 6 months, as we go to the end of calendar 2012, Rob will continue in the role of CEO. There will be an opportunity during that period for Christopher to step aside shortly from his current line role to spend time both within the business, getting to understand the business more deeply, and to cement the international contacts both in aviation and investor markets that are so important for us as an international business. I don't want to say too much more than that, except to say that this is a very challenging time for the company. We've made that clear, that this is a tough market, that we have high expectations about the improvement that should come from the business, and the plan that Rob and his team have drafted to ensure that that happens. That we wanted to give plenty of time for any new appointee to become very familiar with the business, to spend some time with Rob in the international context to ensure that when the baton is passed at the end of this year, it is passed seamlessly for the business, and that the business strategy that we have in place for improvement is both carried on and improved. To be able to make this appointment, to have had a very good process to get to this point, to have an internal candidate with such high calibre, a high-performing global Kiwi to come back and take over this role is, we think, a mark of very considerable success. The board views this decision today and this announcement as a great outcome. I'm now just going to ask Rob to make a few comments and before Christopher comments on his appointment. Rob.
Great. Thanks, John. And Christopher, if I can add my congratulations. I am thrilled with the outcome. I strongly believe we have a world-class leadership team here at Air New Zealand, of which Christopher has been an integral part since he joined us 12 months ago. He's challenged us and brought a new dimension to the business, and we've benefited very much from that contribution, and the company is now poised to benefit from that as Christopher moves into the CEO role at the end of the year. We have been doing a lot over the last few years to reposition the business in a very challenging environment. One of my key goals was to see an internal candidate succeed me as CEO. My second key goal is to make sure when I hand over the reins to Christopher at the end of the year, the business is performing as one of the best aviation businesses in the world, both in terms of the service reputation that we've already established, but also in terms of our financial performance. And I'm very optimistic in terms of what we will achieve and what I will deliver in my remaining 6 months in the role, handing over the reins of the business in very good shape to Christopher. So that will continue to be my focus, as well as working alongside Christopher to help position him for a seamless transition at the end of December. So again, my heartfelt congratulations. Thanks, Christopher. Well done.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Well, firstly, good morning, everybody, and thank you, Rob and John, for those very kind remarks and comments. I've been part of Air New Zealand now for a year, and I can tell you it's a really, really special company. And it's special for two reasons. It's special because it's very successful. It's the best airline in the world, and I think it's the best company in New Zealand. But it's special also because it's hugely significant. We have a great, awesome responsibility, I believe, about connecting New Zealanders to the world and bringing the world to us. And that's a really inspiring mission and purpose that you can really sign up for and actually want to deliver against. The impact that this company can have on our country and our community is immense, economically, socially and emotionally, and I think that for me is incredibly inspiring as I look on taking on board this new role. I have to say we only have the company we have today. I only get the chance to lead it because of the work that's gone before me, and over 72 years there's been a great tradition in this organisation. But Rob will be too modest to say so, but he leaves here a great legacy in this organisation as I think the person who really has transformed this organisation. And what I see in this company and the things that I want to continue to protect and enhance are the things that Rob's built into the business, which is customers and people at the heart of what we do. An unrivaled corporate reputation, whether that be with the broader community, the business community, and certainly the international aviation industry. A culture that's incredibly changed and transformed in terms of very innovative, very open, very honest, and a commercial success. For an airline to have made profits for 10 years in a row is no mean achievement. To have navigated the global financial crisis as we have, and to be actually on the cusp of what I think is a really exciting period of growth and profit for us is really fantastic. I also want to say thanks to John for setting up the construct of the transition period, because it does really enable me to do a few things. The first is to actually get out and about and actually meet more of our people. I've met a lot of Air New Zealanders over the last 12 months. I've spent a lot of time with lots of frontline staff, and it's really a chance for me to get familiar with bits of the business that I don't know as well, and to really get a better feel for the organisation. The relationships that I want to build within New Zealand Inc. and across New Zealand, and certainly transitioning those international strategic relationships that Rob's been very astute to build over the last few years will be very, very critical. But it also gives me an opportunity to take a step back and actually reflect a little bit about some of the changes that we will see in our industry in the next 5 years, and how we actually make sure that Air New Zealand is fundamentally really well positioned, is really relevant and remains very competitive against that strategic context. And so that's what I'll be doing over the next 6 months. What I want to say finally is just, I know there's a lot of Air New Zealanders watching, and I want to say thank you to all the Air New Zealanders for the support and the welcome that you've given me over the last 12 months. I want to thank you also for the messages of support and encouragement I've had this morning actually in my inbox. But I think Air New Zealanders represent the very best of our country. I think they are wonderful ambassadors of New Zealand, and I want to thank our people for waking up each and every day determined to make this company really great. It's also really special for me that I want to thank my wife and children who are actually here today. It's a special day for our family, as you can well imagine, but you don't sign up for a job like this without the family support and encouragement that enables me to be able to take on board. So it's really special to have them here and to celebrate that as a family. And finally, let me say I'm really proud of this company. I think it's an awesome company. I think we have a lot to be extremely proud about, but I feel very excited, very energized about a future that's incredibly optimistic and incredibly positive. And I look forward to a company that will continue to be successful, continue to win, but we're going to have a lot of fun along the way as well. So thanks for your time. I appreciate I'll get to know more of you after the event. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Christopher. I'm now going to open the session to questions. If you have questions, can you please identify yourself and your organisation? Some of you are well known, but particularly for Christopher, some of you will be new faces, so if you could identify yourself and your organisation as you ask questions. Firstly, do we have questions here in the audience in Auckland?
I'm Sharon Brett-Kelly from Radio New Zealand. John, can I just ask you, Christopher must have made quite an impact in the 12 months. Can you expand on that at all? I mean, did he have an effect on the international business, which is so crucial to the company?
He certainly has had an effect on the business. Bringing the insights, I think, of the sort of career that he's had, it is always good when new people come, they bring new insights and new perspectives. And because of his international background, he has brought very sharp insights about some of the aspects of our international business, taken some time to absorb the nuances of the Air New Zealand business and then set about making improvements. That, I think, has been already clearly demonstrated in the quality of the thinking, the analysis and the structuring that are around that suggests that the transition from his previous marketing and product experience to a more intense customer experience is one where all of that background is extremely valuable.
And Christopher, can I just ask, I mean, you've got 6 months to I guess, see what the job is, but you must really have to get into it because the industry at the moment is in, I guess, a state of crisis, would you say? I mean, what do you think will be your main focus?
Well, I mean, I think what I've learned in the last 12 months, it's a highly addictive industry, actually. And maybe it's an insane way to make money, but it's actually a really addictive industry because there's a lot of complexity to it. And the real challenge for our business is really how do we continue to actually protect and enhance the things that we have built in it. If we lose our customer focus and our customer centricity, you see businesses lose their way all the time when they lose the voice of a customer. If we need to keep building our partnerships and our corporate reputation very strongly, and certainly we need to keep activating our people and our culture. Our Air New Zealanders represent our brand, and so those are the things that I'm very interested in making sure that we stay very focused on and take to the next level and keep improving upon.
Adam Hollingworth from TV3. In a year's time, do you expect the Air New Zealand to be smaller or bigger? I mean, do you think that in terms of personnel and in terms of aircraft, do you think that it's going to be expanding or contracting?
Well, I think that's something, for me, I see a future that's all about growth for us as an airline. I think we are uniquely positioned where we sit in the world to capitalise on more growth in this industry and in this part of the world. But clearly that's something that we'll go through in the next 6 months and get really clear about where are the opportunities for this business and where can we capitalise and convert really strongly. So I think that's for me is the next 6 months is really quite critical. But I do see a world of huge opportunity out there, and having lived and worked all over the world, when you think about rapid increases in middle class populations across the globe, that's only good for Air New Zealand. It's only good for our company.
Hey. Have you had a chance to look at the direction you're going to take? Is there going to be changes that you're going to be bringing about have you identified where this is going to be?
No, I think, for me, I've been very fixated on, the last 12 months of trying to make sure that, or setting our international airline up for success. We've had some real challenges there, but I think we now have a pathway and are on track for delivering on our plans there. And to be honest, that's really the focus of the next 6 months, is to really think through, as I said, what are the changes we're going to see in the industry. Let's do a really good scan of those and really make sure that Air New Zealand's well positioned to compete for the future.
Perhaps we can see if there are questions online.
And your next question comes from the line of Adrian Schofield of Aviation Weekly. Ask your question, please.
Thanks a lot. Christopher, obviously you've had a lot to do with the international review. Just wondering, are you happy with how far it's gone, or do you think there's a lot more required to be done in that area?
Well, we've done over the last 12 months, we've done a very deep review of our business. We've actually put together a new strategy. We've articulated our goal, which is really about improving the performance of the profitability of the business by 110 million by 2015. And I think, internally we feel really, really comfortable with where we are with that plan, and are certainly on track for delivering that growth and that plan that we planned for. So I think, I personally do. I think we're really on track for delivering that plan.
I think there's another question online.
And your next question comes from the line of Matt O'Sullivan of Fairfax Media. Please ask your question.
Yeah, hi Christopher, and congratulations. Just a question around growth. I mean, it'd be pretty fair to say that your growth options are really pretty limited given the regulatory and political hurdles. And it would seem that Australia, in all fairness, would be one of those few places where you can increase your exposure. Is that fair?
I disagree with you that there's a limitation on growth. I think we are uniquely positioned in this part of the world to capitalise on immense amounts of growth sitting in the Pacific Rim region. In my old world, the growth in the middle class, and when people start to hit the middle class and aspire to actually travel to a country outside of their own, that's a huge trigger point for us, and we're about to be, I think, in the next 10 years on the sharp end of that curve. But I'll let Rob pass any other judgment on that.
Let me just to reinforce Christopher's comments. Australia is, outside of New Zealand, Australia is our most important market undoubtedly, but it's not our only market for growth. I guess, Matt, if the parallel question was our position in Virgin and do we see expanding that position, I think as we've made clear, we've got no intention at this stage to increase our position. We've got a very significant interest in the Australian market now through that Virgin stake. We've got a very significant position on the Tasman with the alliance we've put in place, and we're very happy with how that positions us. But to Christopher's point, the explosive growth that is happening in GDP per capita, development of the middle classes through Asia, we're seeing a really strongly performing US economy. It was interesting at IATA just a week or so back, the US airlines are all very positive, and we're clearly a very key player in that market. So we're looking across the board, and Christopher brings great experience to help assist the development of those long-haul markets into New Zealand as well.
Can I just ask though, is that growth going to come through alliances or using your own metal?
I'm not sure who why don't I let Christopher have a perspective of that, because again, that's pretty critical to our international strategy that Christopher has been instrumental in developing.
I think there'll be a combination of both, to be really honest. I think the opportunity for us, depending on which markets we're looking at, where there are strong partners that we can partner up with in sales and distribution terms is really important. ANA is a fantastic example of a recent partnership that we've put together in Japan. Well, you have the most successful airline in Japan, 42 million, I think, customers. 20-something million people in their frequent flyer program, and they actually have a lot of salespeople that are now pushing services to New Zealand. And so, there's a lot of opportunity in sales and distribution terms through partnerships. Equally, there are places where we will continue to fly our own metal and expand our own metal.
But would it be fair to say, I mean, given the economic turmoil in Europe and the fact that the US is anything but a growth story at this point, that really Asia is going to be your main focus?
Well, I would correct you on North America. I mean, North America for us has experienced huge amounts of growth actually in the last 12 months, and our projection for the next 12 months is that we're going to have huge amounts of opportunity sitting in North America. So, for us, we're looking at the whole Pacific Rim region, and I think it's just super exciting that there's a world of opportunity sitting out there for us, and it's a question of how we're going to access it and convert it. And this is a company that has great people, and we've a great track record of building a strong business, and I think we'll continue to look at those opportunities and work them over incredibly well and build a strong business.
Very much.
Thank you.
For you. What routes in North America are you looking at? Houston, is that one that's a possibility?
I'm not going to comment on the specific routes, but suffice to say, there is our business there has been doing extremely well, actually over the last 12 months, and I think the macroeconomic recovery in America is strong, or is becoming increasingly stronger, and off the back of that, our business has been fundamentally strengthening, and so we are constantly looking and going through a process now of evaluating the North American market again to look for opportunity there.
Can I have one for John? The mixed public and private ownership model is being obviously looked at, and particularly in your other capacity. What can you say about that, whether it works or not for other New Zealand companies that are looking at the mixed model?
Well, I think the message for the New Zealand public is that if you have concern about the mixed ownership model, then you should look to Air New Zealand and say, why is it that this company consistently has very high reputation scores, has very high public acceptance scores, is considered to be highly customer focused, and has transformed the view of the New Zealand public about what you can do with this business. We've done that in an environment where the Crown is the majority owner and where the public listing of the company is critical to the sort of things that we can do. I think it would be fair to say that if this company was not a listed company, we would not be attracting high-class Kiwis in an international context to come back and work here. That is a very, very important part of the privatisation process, that we set aspirational goals for those companies, as we have for Air New Zealand and as I'm trying to do elsewhere. Do we have, I think, another couple of questions online?
And your next question comes from the line of David Flynn of Australian Business Traveller. Please ask your question.
Thank you. Chris, hello, congratulations. Wondering if you can talk a little bit about the role of the 787 for Air New Zealand. Air New Zealand for the 787-9. Are we still on track to see that in the middle of 2014? And how crucial is the 787 to where you see the future of Air New Zealand in terms of existing routes and new routes?
Yeah, so we're really genuinely very excited about the 787. It's a truly transformational aircraft for us. It's going to be very well suited to the missions that we want to deploy it into. Predominantly a lot of Asian destinations for us. But the aircraft is fantastic in terms of up to a 16% fuel improvement over our 767 fleet that we have today. So for us, it's a very key part of our strategy as we move forward. And yes, the delay has been frustrating, but we are very, very confident that we will be delivering our first aircraft in 2014.
Fantastic. Middle of 2014 or third quarter?
To be determined, but around the middle, I think, is our plan.
Right, okay. And any idea about some of the routes you'd like to slot it into for first effect?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect aircraft for a lot of missions into Asia. So, we continue, we'll look at a lot of the Asian destinations, ideally for where it can be delivered.
And America? North America?
Potentially, yes. I mean, it gives us a lot of options and a lot of flexibility, but we'll determine where best to go as we get a bit closer to that time frame.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chris.
And your next question comes from the line of Hannah Lynch of Business Desk. Please ask your question.
Hi guys, you've talked a lot about your international expansion, and last week you came out and said that you're on track to meet your 110 million profit improvement in your international network. I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more around your 2013 profit guidance.
Well, certainly from the company's end, no, we aren't going to talk about that. We have an annual result that we will be closing off, obviously, at the end of June. We'll be announcing that result, and we will be making no comment about profit guidance until we can get to that announcement. I think there's another question online.
And your next question comes from the line of Adrian Schofield of Aviation Weekly. Please ask your question.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Just a quick follow-up. Question for John, if I can. Just wondering, do you expect there to be any other major changes at the executive level coinciding with Christopher's move?
Oh, I can't remotely predict that. What we know is that immediately there's a senior manager role that gets vacated when Christopher takes over as CEO, and part of the next 6 months is for him to work out what that means in terms of structure, and I think it's far too early to even remotely contemplate what that might look like.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Sam Thompson here again from Newstalk ZB. Last time I was here, you were announcing 400 job cuts, and there are indications then that there may be more in the cards if the profit targets weren't met. Is there going to be further layoffs?
It's probably a question for me. I think I was funding that announcement. So we did announce at that point in time we were reducing 441 positions. That process has now been implemented, and those positions have been reduced from our headcount. However, I did try and make it clear that we don't envisage further cuts, and in fact that was part of our overall program of positioning the airline to be able to compete and deliver good levels of profitability within the current context of high oil prices and the global demand that we see, and we're confident that that program has delivered against our objectives and does position us for what we want to achieve in the coming 12 months.
So that means that you're not looking at more redundancies?
We're certainly not looking at any more redundancies, nothing in the pipeline whatsoever.
Does that complete the questioning? Adam.
It's probably a cheeky one to finish with, but Rob, have you had any job offers then since?
I've had a few job offers, but quite seriously, that couldn't be the furthest thing from my mind at the moment. I will wait till the end of the year before I start contemplating what next. There seems to be a lot of people who have ideas about what I should do next, but I've got a very important job to do between now and the end of the year, and that will have my full attention, and that's what I'll be doing. As for what happens next year, not too sure. Hopefully I can find something here in New Zealand. I've been very passionate about the airline. I'll continue to be long after I leave, and I'm a very passionate New Zealander, so that's where my heart lies.
I think we have a further question online.
And the next question comes from the line of Andrew Cleary of the Australian Financial Review. Please ask your question.
Yeah, hi. A question for Chris. Look, I'm just wondering, and I'm sorry if you said this at the start, I may have missed that, but what are the main learnings that you've brought from an FMC background to the airline, and how you think that might take it on a slightly different strategic direction, if at all?
Well, I think what I'd say on opening is that I've worked overseas in an international environment for almost 2 decades, and what I've learned in the last 12 months is a lot of those business principles are incredibly transferable to this industry and to this airline. And as we've gone about building that international turnaround plan, we've put a lot of that into place. And so, a lot in the sales and distribution piece, Andrew, is really a critical part of it, and that's the real engine room of revenue generation in this company. So, there's often a lot more intensity, to be honest, in an FMCG environment around sales and distribution, and that's something that I've been very fixated on across our operations around the world, and it's a good example for me of where I can bring some outside-in perspective. The really neat thing about this organisation is that, bringing someone in from an outside perspective, and I guess Rob and Ralph before me were in similar situations, and blending that with the industry expertise and the subject matter experts that we have within this organisation is a really good and powerful combination. And I think that run this business very differently from a lot of our competitors as a result. There's just a slightly different perspective and a nice blend of outside in and also deep industry knowledge as well.
Yeah, and can I ask just as a follow-up, do you see a profitable business for ultra-long-haul flying, which is so important for Air New Zealand, or for now is it really just about making do and being as efficient as you can while the oil cost is high, or can an airline such as New Zealand truly make money on long-haul if we have a sustained high fuel price environment?
So, I definitely see that as being the case, that we can be profitable in a long-haul airline setup. We've already got a lot of encouraging signs that we're seeing internally about our ability to do just that. Our America's performance is very, very strong, and we're finding new tactics and new ways of actually, to be honest, even looking at our business across the Atlantic, it's improved dramatically in the last 6 months as well. So, no, we very much have the view that we can be incredible. We can generate very good returns and profitability in our long haul business.
So no more route cuts for the time being, then.
Sorry, what was that, Andrew?
So no more kind of route cuts on the horizon?
Well, we're constantly looking at where best we can maximise the return for our company, and so we constantly keep evaluating new routes, how we can strengthen the existing routes and the existing markets that we go to, and that's the process that we'll continue to do.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Are there any final questions from the audience here? Clearly all of us will be available for one-on-ones at the completion of this session. That would appear to be towards the end. I want to finish perhaps on a slightly whimsical note. These are pretty gloomy economic times, and it would be easy to be downbeat. In the middle of winter, in what's proven to be a pretty tough winter, that's not helped. But the good news is that in 2 days' time, it is Matariki. For those of you offshore, Matariki is the Maori celebration of New Year. It's a time traditionally in Maori law to prepare the ground for the coming year. It's a time to foster unity, to embrace whānau and to set new goals. I'd like to think that the announcement today as we head to Matariki is blessed with that sort of new beginning